Hey everyone, welcome back to another Steven Universe discussion video. This time, this episode is Room for Ruby, and I'm here with Michael, as usual, to discuss this amazing episode. Or, well, some people had mixed feelings,
Yeah, I feel
but I thought it was okay.
I like the episode. I just we'll talk about this later. I'm not a fan of how the general direction is going right now with like how things have been panning out, which it will make sense later. But and I know a lot of other people feel the same way. There's a lot. We're like in the Discord right now. There's a lot of mixed emotions going on. People really love the episode. People didn't like this thing about the episode. People didn't like this thing about the episode. It's just like a lot of mixed reactions in the fandom right now, it seems.
Yeah, I agree. We'll talk about like all the exactly what we did and didn't like at the end.
Yeah,
that's usually what we do. So first, to go over what happened in the episode. Navy crash lands on Earth when Steven and Garnet are outside. And, you know, it's pretty random. But, I mean, we were waiting for the longest time for any sign of a ruby, you know? And we finally got it. I don't know if this is exactly what people wanted, but we got it. We definitely got it.
Yeah.
So of all the gems or all the Ruby squad, we got Navy, who was probably, you know, one of the best, like, people would have thought a best choice for, you know, joining the Crystal Gems or something, or understanding Steven and the gang, because she's been shown to be pretty nice to them. Yeah, one of the fan favorites, I'd say.
Yeah, it's just adorable.
So, and she's like, oh, I don't want to be with Homeworld anymore. I want to join you guys. And they're like, it seems like, okay. And so, yeah, he pretty much is like, okay, you're moving in with Lapis and Peridot. And Peridot is okay with this, but Lapis is skeptical because all of a sudden Navy's just changed, or she just, you know, randomly wants to join them for no reason. When it took Lapis so long to get used to Earth, she doesn't understand how anybody could be so optimistic so quickly, I guess. Yeah. So instead, to help to see exactly how Ruby is, I guess, they teach her more about Earth. And one thing, or some interesting details, is that apparently Homeworld doesn't have rain at all, or wherever Ruby was for her whole life. Which brings up the question is, like, are Lapises useless there? I mean, people have theorized this before, like, Lapis is only useful on other planets or something. Or can she control more than water? I don't know exactly what's
I think it's generally water, because if you look at, if someone brought this up, I can't remember, sorry, I'm not crediting the right person. Someone brought this up in a theory, I think, or some type of video, I don't remember. It may have been you, actually. It was kind of discussing how Lapis probably terraforms water specifically, because if we look at like a lot of the gem structures and stuff, it's all based in like water, like the galaxy warp, the moon spire is like they're all like based somewhere in the ocean or some type of body of water. So I don't think they do, like, there's different, like, oh, there's an earth lapis and here's a fire lapis. Like, I think it's just all water. It sounds like.
Yeah, so it seems that, well, you know, it's a very Homeworld-like thing, but it doesn't change with its weather. It's always sunny, most likely, according to what Navy said, which is, you know, an interesting detail, learning about Homeworld, which hopefully we get to see one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, Navy is just being way too nice, and like I said before, Lapis is skeptical about Navy loving everything so quickly. And, you know, getting to the, and more to the end of the episode, Navy mentions that she misses the Roman guy, which is the Ruby ship. And, yeah, and they all decide to go, you know, a great idea. Just all go into the ship and let Navy pilot it by herself. And, you know, she tells Steven to push a button, and which is a trick, obviously. And they all go flying out. Yeah.
And, yeah, then they land in the ocean, and that's it.
Yeah, and then Lapis was like, oh, yay, I'm right. And then they like, I'm glad you were right, Lapis. Glad you were right.
Yeah, I like how Garnet had two different balloons for two different situations.
Yeah, so like at the beginning, actually, we saw Garnet at the beginning, and you know, at the end, she uses her future vision because one balloon was like a good outcome and one was a bad outcome, and she had to pop the good one. Yeah, unfortunately. So let's get into more of the discussion part of it. What did you think?
Chuckles. I have problems.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people are going to be upset about the Lapis thing. I actually liked that. I liked how Lapis got a little more development.
Yeah.
It was definitely well needed for that character. I think it was well done. Kind of gave us more of an understanding of where she's coming from, I guess, and like how she's still kind of struggling. And she's like also kind of insecure about herself, still struggling about it. So she's like at least self-aware about it. But my main problem, and I've mentioned this a lot already, so it just kind of brought it home again, is the fact that, you know, they never went to get the rubies. They never mentioned the rubies, even though they knew they were in space. And they also knew that the diamonds were interested in coming back to Earth for humans for the zoo. It just seems very sloppy. And this could all tie together eventually, somehow in like a more neat of a bow. There might be a reason for all this, but it doesn't seem to make sense as to why, you know, especially with Garnet's future vision. They were all in the room when the diamonds mentioned they wanted to get humans for the zoo. They know they're on the way. They know the rubies are on the way. Like, they know Eyeball knows that Steven is rose quartz. Like, they just know all of this information. You would think they would do something, or at the very least say they're gonna do something. And now they completely blew their chance. And now Navy has the ship. Yep. Now they can't go into space. Now they can't get the rubies. Now Navy is going to get the rubies most likely. And now they're going to snitch on the crystal gems. The diamond's going to find them, especially Steven being rose quartz.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's going to be bad. Now the one way I feel like this could be fixed is if they mention it. They're like, oh man, we were so dumb. Actually, Osterbox at the round table and the Discord mentioned that it'd be a good idea if they kind of mentioned how, you know, they're so lost without Rose's leadership, and that's why they just kind of messed that whole thing up, and they could have done much more. If they do that, I'm on board with it. I like it. Cool. If they don't do that and they just kind of go, oh, we're in this bad situation now because writing, then it's a problem for me personally, because I feel like it's just too many convenient pieces that seemed kind of forced, seemed like it's kind of reaching. And like, I do, for the most part, trust these writers. I do think that they know what they're doing. I think the Queenverse puts a lot of time and care and effort into it. So I'm hoping that they, you know, kind of lift our disappointments eventually. It doesn't have to be right away, but eventually at some point bring that up and make it more of a plot point and a character development point for the crystal gems. And then I think it's like, okay, that's fine. But if they don't, then that's really frustrating, because it's like, that's not how a conflict should be happening, I don't think. Yeah, I agree with what you've been saying. And like, I did like this episode, but like, I did have some issues with it. Yeah. And, you know, we're going to see Steven being kind and him that totally backfiring on him for once. Yeah, I like that moral lesson too. Like, you can't just always be trusting people. Like, even though you should try to give people a chance, you got to also be careful and not be reckless. Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, you think Navy's going to be like a big time villain now? No, of course not. But I think that was actually really smart that they picked the nicest, like, most innocent seeming gem to come and do this, and then, like, from a writing standpoint, and then she actually ends up being one of the more radical ones. Yeah, I would have never expected that meeting them when we first met them. Yeah. So, was there anything else that you wanted to touch on? It was a good episode. I liked the episode. I'm just not liking where the show's going currently, like with this whole arc. Hopefully it gets fixed. Hopefully it gets mentioned and addressed in some way, shape, or form. And that's pretty much it. It's, you know, it's Steven Universe. Still love it. Yeah, it is just frustrating when things are just kind of not going well. And I know there's been a lot of mixed reactions with that, but we'll see. Yeah, you addressed like all my concerns pretty much, and yeah, yeah. So I mean, I do want to see where this is going. Hopefully, goes in the right direction, as you were saying. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I think that pretty much covers our discussion for it. In 2 weeks, I believe, we'll be seeing the next Steven Universe episode, which is Line 4 alternate ending, if I remember correctly. Yes, and I am super, super excited for that. Yeah, that's gonna be last Line episode was just one of my favorites. Yeah, we haven't. That was back in season 1, I think, right? Jeez, season 3, Line 3. Yeah. That was. We haven't gotten a Line episode in a while. The closest we had was Bismuth. So this should be really interesting. We need some more lion development. Maybe some answers. Oh, I hope so. We've been hoping for some for quite a while now. So we'll see you guys then, and thanks for watching. See you guys.